This one's wife. She's humiliated. According to the Mirror and a number of other newspapers, this one's wife humiliated by latest public mockery that Duchess deems totally unfair. This one's wife reportedly feels humiliated by the recent Family Guy episode mocking the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, and she believes the skit was totally unfair. This one's wife believes the savage attack from Family Guy creators was totally unfair, and she's desperate to fix the couple's reputation in the States. Sources close to this one's wife and Prince Harry have claimed the episode was an outrageous slur, as well as being unfair, and has left them feeling like they're not being taken seriously by people. Ha! You don't say. No shit, Sherlock. Let's pause there. First of all, it's humour. It's a parody. It's a piss take. And with much humour, the reason that people find it funny is because it invariably is true or contains some grains of truth. We know that this one's wife has no sense of humour. She takes herself very seriously and expects everybody else to take her seriously too. Her narcissism does not allow her to laugh at herself, because to do so would hand over control by suggesting that she should be a figure of fun in some way. Accordingly, her narcissism will not allow her to see the funny side of things when it involves her, and indeed, as a consequence of her narcissistic paranoia and the self-defense mechanism that is her narcissism, it tells her that was a savage attack, that it was totally unfair, that it was unnecessary, and people aren't taking you seriously. She regards it as an outrageous slur. Viewed objectively, it isn't. It's humour and merited based upon her behaviour, but she is completely unable to see that. She isn't actually humiliated by it. What actually happens is she's challenged by it, because it's talking about her which gives her fuel, which is important, but it fails in being compliant and thus threatens her sense of control. As I've explained to you before, certain narcissists, as highly provocative narcissists, would welcome this kind of thing. They feed on the hatred. They revel in it. But not this one's wife. As a mid-range narcissist, she wants to be liked, loved, admired, and appreciated. And wherever she is mocked or lampooned, it really does get to her. But it isn't actually humiliation. What occurs is it threatens her sense of control and ignites her fury. But her narcissism tells her that she felt humiliated, so that she can then say that to another person, that she can say this was totally unfair, this was a savage attack, this was an outrageous slur. Because what that does is that it motivates her to use those words to other people, probably coterie members, Harry as her lieutenant, so that those individuals are sympathetic and say, absolutely, it was outrageous what they did there, an unwarranted and unmerited attack upon you. They really ought to take you far more seriously. Those comments by the lackeys in the coterie then afford her a sense of control, subconsciously, not only over them, because they're agreeing with her, but over Family Guy and the audience at large that was laughing at her. Thus, she's not actually humiliated. Her narcissism causes her to believe that, to motivate her to comment in the way that she apparently did, so that she asserts control over the listeners and indirectly over those that have mocked her. The insiders said that the savage attack from the Family Guy episode has made it crystal clear that the tides have turned against them in America. Well, it was pretty clear before that, and it's just been reinforced. But apparently this one's wife isn't having it. The source said, this one's wife said she won't be humiliated like this. narcissistic trait of defiance, and is desperate for a solution. They're in full panic mode. Again, she won't be in full panic mode because she's well fueled and she has ultimately been able to achieve control over this situation. What's hit them hardest and cuts the deepest of all is that it plays up the whole notion they're self-entitled grifters or spoiled brats. What actually hits them the hardest is that those descriptions of this one's wife threaten her sense of control because they don't accord with her own image of herself. And therefore, because it threatens that sense of control, it makes her feel weak and vulnerable and unimportant, because control is the single most important aspect for the narcissist. The source then claimed that this one's wife believes the only way to save their brand is for Harry to swallow his pride and beg for his family's forgiveness, they told Closer. Notice, of course, that there's no swallowing her pride or begging for forgiveness when she is the individual that has caused the problem with the royal family. No, it's Harry's fault. Evidence of blame shifting. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex are featured in the new series of the hit cartoon Satire. In the episode, main character Peter Griffin compares himself to the couple as he sits with a group of friends at a bar. Speaking to his pals, Peter tries to think of ways he can get the money that he's owed. He then comes up with the idea to go it alone, just like this one's wife and Harry did when they stepped down as working members of the royal family in 2020. The scene then cuts to the Sussexes sitting by a pool in their swimwear. A butler waits on the couple and hands them millions from Netflix. As he hands them the money, the butler tells Harry, "Sir, your millions from Netflix for no one knows what." Harry then replies, "Put it with the rest of them." As the butler rushes off, this one's wife gets a notification on her phone. "Babe, time to do our daily $250,000 sponsored Instagram post for Del Taco," she says to her husband. In an apparent dig at the royal family, Harry replies, "I shouldn't have left the made-up nonsense." Harry's wife will undoubtedly have complained about what was said because it threatened her sense of control. Her narcissism tells her that it's entirely unjustified, an outrageous slur, a savage attack. She can only see it that way. She doesn't understand why she is mocked. It really doesn't resonate with her. But once again, her responses are done by way of nullifying the threat to control posed by this program. She's not humiliated by it. It ignited her fury. She doled out some pity plays, and she will have got the control. But it's another attack that she has experienced to her need for control. The problem for her is the program itself lampoons her. That threatens control. And because that largely she's not liked, it gets reported on by the press, as I've explained elsewhere. For other people, it wouldn't be reported on, but for her it is, which then amplifies the nature of the threat, and you then get commentary in social media and below the line, which amplifies the threat again. So it's almost like an echo effect, that each time she's lampooned in this way, it's reported on, commented upon, spoken about, broadcast about. So there are echoes of the threat to control, and that is particularly problematic for this one's wife. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.